Welcome to Comcast Newsmakers. I'm Candace Kelly, and we're here in the Florida State Capitol building in Tallahassee with House Representative Ray Rodrigues of the 76th Legislative District. He's with us to talk a little bit about his proposed legislation for the 2016 session. Thank you so much for being with us today.
Pleasure to be here.
Now, let's first of all talk about a bill dealing with property taxes that basically says whatever your house is assessed at, that is the type of taxes that you will be paying. It matches, because as it stands now, there's sometimes a major difference in what people's assessed value is, and then they are paying higher taxes than that assessed value.
Yes, we passed a constitutional amendment in Florida called Save Our Homes that limited your property tax increase to 3%. And the assumption was property values in Florida would always go up. And then an administrative judge said that if a homeowner enjoyed tax savings under the Save Our Homes, if property values did go down, they could recapture those savings. And so it's called the recapture provision. Well, we learned during the Great Recession, property values in Florida can go down. And what we saw from homeowners is while their property values were going down, their property taxes were still going up. So what this bill will do is repeal that recapture provision so that if your property values go down, government does not increase your property taxes.
Big lesson learned, I mean, in terms of what the outlook is in terms of property and what the potential could come, because it's something that surprised so many people.
Absolutely. No one saw that coming.
Yeah. Now, also when it comes to renewable energy, there's a constitutional amendment that you would like to see that would provide tax exemptions for those who do use solar panels, for example.
In the past, we passed in Florida in 2008, a constitutional amendment that would allow homeowners to employ renewable energy. Most often it's used in solar panels on their home, and it would prevent their property values from being raised as a result of that. Because the fear was property values would go up, they'd be taxed, and there'd be a disincentive to do this. What this constitutional amendment would do is it would extend those same protections against higher taxation to commercial properties to give them an incentive to invest in renewable energy. And then the second part of this amendment is it would prevent tax collectors from assessing a tangible personal property tax on the solar panels as business equipment. So we believe if we take the tax burden off on those two areas, property value taxation and tangible personal property, commercial businesses will now have an incentive to move into the renewable energy field.
And that's a really big deal because many of these businesses obviously sometimes have bigger properties, and so we are encouraging a number of people to get involved with solar energy and renewable energy, which is good for the environment overall.
It's good for the environment, and then another aspect of this is it's good to diversify our energy portfolio in the state because we don't want to become overly dependent on just one source of power.
Let's talk a little bit about regulating oil and gas resources. There's a bill on the table that's been in the headlines. I've read quite a bit about it.
Yes.
In terms of another layer that you would like to see when it comes to permits. You would like to see another level added to what's already out there when it comes to these resources.
Yes, what we've learned in Florida is that our statutes when it comes to oil and gas regulation have not kept up with technology. So what we've seen with the advances in technology is hydraulic fracking is being used all across the country. Under our current statutory requirements, a company can come in, apply for a traditional conventional extraction permit, and then decide they want to do an unconventional means such as fracking, and they don't have to be permitted for that. They just have to notify DEP that they're going to do it. We would like to see a specific permitting process for fracking so that a company would have to declare up front that that is their intention, give DEP the tools to evaluate the company's background, to see if they've been a good actor in other states, to increase the bonding requirement, and give DEP the authority to have additional inspections on this. But before we do any of that, we're putting a moratorium on fracking in this bill until we actually complete a Florida-based scientific study. Because Florida's geology is unique compared to other states, and there's no science out there on what the effect of fracking could be on a state with Florida's geology. So we want that study done first, and then a specific permitting process.
And I'm sure that this study will address the effect of fracking and different energy sources on citizens who live in the community, because that's a big deal.
Yes, we're looking at the effects of fracking on Florida's geology, we're looking at the effects on its hydrology, and we're also looking at the environmental impacts of that as well.
All right, well, sure we'll have you back for an update on that. Always a good topic to talk about.
Thank you. Appreciate you having me.
Absolutely. A special thanks to Representative Rodrigues for speaking with us today. For Comcast Newsmakers, I'm Candace Kelly. Thanks for joining us here at the Florida State Capitol in Tallahassee.